Hello Africa, welcome to AAU Talks on AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa. AAU Talks is brought to you by the Association of African Universities. My name is Isabella Tetteh-Ahinakwa. Today we are talking about how COVID-19 has impacted the teaching pedagogy, especially in Africa. When we talk about pedagogy, it's all about the process or the method of teaching in theory and in practice to influence learning in others. We all know that this pandemic has affected everybody and everything, including education. Many countries and educational sectors are forced to embrace online teaching and learning due to the pandemic, and this raises the need to address the effectiveness of this approach, the barriers, and how to effectively integrate ICT into online teaching and learning. Joining me on this discussion via Zoom is Mr. Kenneth Bright Boateng. Please stay with me as we go for a break, and when we come back, I'll introduce our guest to you properly. You're welcome back from the break. This is still AAU Talk. As I mentioned, today we are talking about how COVID-19 has impacted our teaching pedagogy. Joining me is Mr. Kenneth Bright Boateng. He's a lecturer at the Takoradi Technical University in Ghana. He lectures creative design, drawing, illustration, and fabric design, decoration, and many more at the Department of Fashion Design in the school. Interestingly, he was a costume designer in the movie Breaking with the Past and also produced costumes for some identified clients as a freelance designer. Currently, Mr. Kenneth Bright Boateng is a chairman of Government Committee of Ghana Standards Authority. You can follow this discussion on our social media platforms at Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube, and our dedicated website at tv.aau.org. Hello, Mr. Kenneth. You're welcome to AAU Talks.
I'm thankful for the very nice intro. I'm very grateful.
Right.
Well,
I've already introduced you to our viewers, but I would like you to tell us more about yourself and your work in your institution, please.
Okay. Actually, I'm a professional teacher, and my registered number as a full-time training teacher is 1167-93. I completed college in 93, and I was engaged on the 1st of September by GES, and I've been a professional teacher since then across the levels from basic to tertiary. And teaching is actually, I wouldn't say it's my profession, but my hobby, and I love doing it. Turning young minds, helping to streamline things, to help them acquire, not impart, rather to acquire knowledge, skill, and competence. That's my goal, and I hope I've done quite well. I've taught about 5,000 to 10,000 students, and I'm grateful. For what I do now, I'm actually a fashion practitioner, and I facilitate in textile art, fashion design, style, and related courses. I'm also into dissertation for final correction of the various final years, from diploma to master's degree. I'm involved in their final correction, the final project. And sometimes I teach research methods too, something I really love doing. Basically, this is what I do in my institution. I've also been on various committees, and I've been head of the Department of the Fashion Design Department before. Currently, I work with Ghana Standards. We look at all standards related to fashion and then textiles. I am the chairman of the garment session, and I'm a member of the textile session. We are now connected to ECOWAS standards, African standards, and now ISO. And it will amaze you that even fashion houses to operate fashion, I mean, I'm talking of garment production, retail, etc. We have developed standards for them, and I don't even know how we're going to play before the public, because the questions that will come will be immense. Look at the fact that the formalized system is not really working here, and the financial committed businesses must have to commit to start operating with the standard. But hey, I'm hoping that since we started, we are going to get there. Basically, this is what I do. Thank you so much.
Now, before we move on to the main topic of today's discussion, let's talk about the era before COVID-19. I remember when I was in school, what we were doing was the face-to-face approach of teaching and learning, whereby a lecturer walks into the class and then teaches us. And we students, we normally consult our laptops or the phone and the internet when we have a research doing. Mr. Boateng, I want to know, was it the same in your school before the COVID-19, or you had other approaches?
So what happened was that apart from doing the group work, we encouraged students to go into electronics. You see, the problem we had was that we didn't have enough infrastructure to do computer-aided design comprehensively. So we try to, as much as possible, the works that we ask the students to generate, we try to help them to adopt electronic first. I was able to offer students software in areas like Photoshop, AutoCAD, and Corel, so that those who can apply. So they generate their practical works in portfolios, and I'll look at it and assess. The other thing we did was that we did a lot of multiple choice questions, especially so the assignment of virtually practicals. Most semester exams was multiple choice questions, and those semester exams we made it especially practical. And then if you observe the questions this semester, you discover that it is the assignment in the end of semester exams which have been converted to written to be able to apply. And that's how I manage it. Basically, what is happening now, where we have been trying to go virtual, and I will, as we proceed, I'll tell you the assisted problems and the gains we have made here too.
So talking about the popularity of online.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
To be honest with you, online teaching, I wouldn't say has developed so much. We are still at the infancy level, in the sense that we have not expanded infrastructure. We don't have dependable electricity. Many students do not have sophisticated gadgets and softwares to tap into the virtual one. From what I have seen regarding my institution, we have also started before COVID came in. If you watch our registration of students, even procurement of it was we had personal contact, actuals, we have reduced it considerably. Students even access the lectures online before you are permitted to register. So it's something you can practice. In class, my personal courses that I facilitate, about 20 to 30% were virtual. But virtual also, like I was saying, its problems are quite stupendous, and we will have to, there must be a national policy to help us invest in infrastructure regarding this virtual learning. You know, in TT, for example, we had already started e-library before COVID came in. All facilitators in the university, we are talking of facilitators of population of about 300. I've been going through periodic training on online teaching, generation of course allocation, assignment, assessment, evaluation, deployment of examination questions, and all of those. Hastened it for us. And so this is what happened. Can I go ahead to tell you some of the gains you have made?
All right, you can go on. You can tell us some of the gains you've made so far.
Yeah. When we start, the huge numbers that we have, by going on virtual, we have been able to contact everybody. Do you get that?
Yeah, I get that.
We operate with Google Classroom, and I'm teaching 11 courses. Do you understand? 11 courses. And all the courses are deployed on Google Classroom, course materials, everything. And some of the students have accessed it. The problem is that those who don't have the technology have not accessed it. So it is making them, in a way, they are training virtually. Next week, we are starting our semester exams. I think next week, yes. And next week or next 2 weeks. And these people are not well prepared. So they are worried to me. I have to find a way to meet them to break the gap. This is the disadvantage. I also found out that another disadvantage is that we are not getting to notes control, and it will amaze you. These are tertiary students, but the problems we find with them is extremely serious. Students have a lot of problems that lecturers will have to direct them for counselors to take over from us. If you don't meet them in person, it's difficult to do some of these problems. And students are giving us, they are trying to find solutions to their problems. And so in some way, somehow, they are harming themselves. And this is a problem. I've also found out that because of lack of facilities, so the student about 5 students will sit behind one computer or one phone. No social distance protocol being observed. And we are trying to make do with whatever the facilitator is doing on virtual learning. And this is becoming a big challenge for us. Don't forget, Tibet in Ghana, we are reaching essentially this world one square mile a day.
Yeah.
You should expect that person is not going to get sophisticated gadget like smartphone or computer. Yeah. So these are the practical problems. And I found that there was a case with a colleague experienced, and she told me the student was in the room with some people while the student was listening to facilitation. And then the people were actually distracting her, and she was trying to control it. And she had not muted her microphone, and the lecturer heard all that they were saying, which of course not too complex for me to say on air. So these are some of the petty problems we are discovering because of the lack numbers. It's difficult to know. Some of us have managed to learn the names of all the students in the class. But those who have population of 150, 200, 300 is becoming a challenge for us. But we are trying because some of us, as professional teachers, this is what we have been experiencing throughout the years.
So you've made mention of some of
I wish
you've already made mention of some of the challenges.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying you've already made mention of some of the challenges you are facing. That was switching to the online teaching learning. Now, what are some of the response from the university management to help you, adjust to this kind of challenges you are facing? Hello, Mr. Boateng.
In fact, we started seriously for two. TT is one of the. I think the work that a full hospital will not be more than 5, and we are one of 4 universities in Ghana, and our management has done that for us. If you go into a
Hello.
that currently our population has shot out from, I think, somewhere around 14 or 15,000 to over 20,000 and still counting. So we are being stretched. We are still building more classroom blocks. We are expanding hostels within the campus. We have acquired another parcel of land to build another campus, which is even like 4 or 5 times the main campus that we have now. So management have been doing this before the coming of COVID. Management also started training lecturers on evaluation. We have been doing that already. Where COVID took us unawares is our internship and industrial attachment program. That one we didn't really prepare, so it took us by surprise. But we are finding solutions to that. Meetings are already in place to change that, to change the trend.
You made mention.
The reason is that.
All right. Okay. Go on, please.
The reason is that we are not the industrial practitioners on the ground. They are businesses outside. So we cannot really dictate to them. We have to play to their game.
Yeah.
That is where we are having a little challenge. But I know we weather the storm.
Well, you made mention that some students.
Please ask your question.
Yeah, you made mention that some students are still finding it difficult getting online, right?
Yes.
So what is the university management doing about that to help them? Because they are lacking, studies is still going on and they are still not getting access to the internet. So how are they?
Okay, it's coming from 2 ends. It's peacefully. If you are not, you get ready. Please, can you hear me?
I can hear you, please
Hello,
go on.
Bella. Yeah, if you have not paid your fees, it's difficult to get registered. That means you cannot accept everything that the university has on the table. This is one of the problems. Now, I must also tell you that all the freshers have paid their fees and they are all registered. The problem is that beyond paying your fees, you need to have this gadget to help you access the money to acquire internet credits. They will tell you when you do video facilitation via Zoom, you'll find out that
Mr. Boateng, I didn't get you very well. Hello, Mr. Boateng.
hello.
Yeah, you said when teachers were coming in, they've already paid their fees, and then I didn't hear from going on. I didn't hear the rest of what you were saying.
They've been on the Google Classroom. I'm saying the freshers are all registered. They they've all paid their fees. So getting them on the Google Classroom has not been the challenge. But the continuous students, those who are already in the system, it's not everybody that has paid their fees. So if you have not paid your fees, you are not registered. So you cannot access the Google Classroom.
Okay.
I don't know if you follow what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, so this has been a problem. And you see, and we know the one that we are doing, the session we have on Zoom currently, you have seen the teaching for what you are having. The same thing is happening in the Google Classroom. Microphones are giving us challenges, speakers, so students get disoriented. The facilitator thinks he or she is delivering, but nobody is listening to the session because the feedback is poor. And this is a big problem we are having. Currently, they are part of the community where the slow voltage, power outage. You get the picture I'm painting.
Yeah.
Well, now you the facility. And from the beginning, there hasn't been when you facilitate, there was not that. If the facility for recording wasn't there, I don't know if it has been fixed. Because now I don't do on virtual teaching, rather I put all the information on Google Classroom, then I go to actual classroom to go to just do something like tutorial. Because I've already given you the material. You go through, you bring your person to class, and we discuss. If you have to do demonstration, we do it. We go to the laboratory, and we do it, and we proceed.
Now, freshers are coming to.
Did you follow me?
Yeah, I follow you very well.
Yeah, yes.
Now, freshers are coming to school, and now they're not going to do the face-to-face online teaching, the face-to-face teaching and learning now. They are going to use the Google Classroom. Now, some may not have idea of how to use that platform to learn. And even some teachers may also not have ideas on how to use the Google Classroom to teach their students. Now, before switching to the online teaching and learning, were there some provision of counseling or training for students and staff before you move to that Google Classroom?
Well, you are going up. Hello, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Please bring the question.
Yeah. I was saying that now freshers are coming to school and now they are to use the Google Classroom, no more face-to-face teaching and learning. Some students will surely have challenges using that platform. I know they will not have ideas of how to use it. And even some students and some teachers will also have no knowledge on how to use the Google Classroom to teach their students. Now, before you switch to that online teaching and learning platform, were there provision of training or counseling for both students and staff before you switch to that?
Like I told you, this is something we have been doing for the past 5 or 6 years. I must confess that the lecturers who are 50 years and above, many of them are not computer literate. I must confess to you. Many of them are struggling to adjust, but some of them cannot even use their phones. The sophistication of the phone they are using, they cannot type efficiently to write exam questions unless it is done for them. Those people are, but they are getting fewer. They are more. much more fewer than those who can use. I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the end of semester asked questions to NAP test. I helped about 3 or 4 people to write their questions before we presented it. So some of us have seen the guy, and management has been out. We have been doing online training, but I've told you about 5 or 6 years ago. We have actually gotten people to help us. The last one that happened, that we did was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, when all the lecturers were taught how to even use the Google Classroom. We did it according to faculties. So management have actually taken some steps in their working. The truth of the matter is that lack of equipment, lack of infrastructure is reducing our capacity to do some of this. But the little that we have, we are making use of them, and we are trying to optimize as much as possible.
Yeah, I follow you. Before we go for a break, I know, of course, you are going to get feedback from your students on the use of the online thing.
No, the other one about the students. There's a not on the use of the course. There's a course called computer literacy, which is supposed to be facilitated for 2 semesters. If you go into what is the context of the computer literacy, it's actually what is taught in basic school. I'm talking of primary and junior high school. What is computer, garbage, and that kind of thing. And we are doing this at the first degree, at undergraduate level. We are repeating the same. For me, I expected that the semester 1 we will be doing Microsoft Office entirely for the semester 1. Semester 2, they will go into the specifics. So if I am let's say I am an accounting student, I'm being introduced to various software. If I'm a procurement, if you're an artist, I believe that is how it should be. The using computer, giving computer literacy 2 semesters is too much. That do you follow the point I'm making?
Yeah, I'm following.
Because if you look at the phone itself contains virtually all the software that we have on the Microsoft Office. The phone itself, you see Word, Excel, Access, publishing, you see all of them, the PowerPoint on your phone. You even get PDF on your phone.
Yeah.
So you don't need to go through all these things again for 2 semesters in first degree or HND, as the case may be. Okay. So I would suggest that when policymakers are listening to us, they may have to reconsider and make computer literacy the rudiments of computer, ICT, whatever. They use in the semester 1 of the first year. Then going forward, we go into the specifics. So for those of us in the visual arts, we know we are using Photoshop, we are using Corel, we are using AutoCAD. Then we are proceeding from there. Then the student knows what is computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacture. Then we proceed from there straight away. And I think this is part of the problem. The other thing is that if between 2010 and 2012, there was a state policy where a program was rolled out and facilitators and students were given laptops by the states. If we can reintroduce this program, it would be helpful so that we can reach as many as we can. The facilitators could be given a program where they could even buy this gadget at a reduced rate, maybe. Yeah, do you know, for those of us in the teacher, we get book and research allowance. Okay. Something like that can be done, yeah. So with the book and research allowance. And another thing is that if I found out that using projector and then woofer speakers, it is also, it's very helpful to do that, to use it when you are using this in actual learning. I mean, face to face in the classroom for the live classes. And the projector can zoom everything for people to see. It helps in tutorials because students feel much confident and comfortable when they are talking with you directly. You get that?
Yeah, I get.
And what I have also seen that there are some students, no matter the situation, they will never ask you a question. There are especially those ones who look like melancholic. They will never open their mouth to ask you a question. But if you meet the person face to face, and you try to engage the person opens up to come. This spectral where you should It's of so much concern towards of our students. It's very diverse and varied. And what can how do I play? It doesn't fit all. I will limit it that way. One side that it doesn't fit all. You have to try various models for it to work. But you follow me?
I follow you. Before we go for the break, let's compare both approach, the face-to-face approach and then the online teaching approach. Or in your view, which one do you think is more effective and is more reliable or more helpful to students and teachers?
I would say a mix of absolutely, and I wouldn't take actual absolutely. Virtual and actual working with both can give you better results. Did you follow me?
Yeah.
Because I found out that when I put the materials on Google Classroom, those who access it got themselves prepared better. They came to class with better questions. They asked professional questions. They will ask, and they know when they ask you a question, you know the person has done some reading, has done some research. Some of them didn't understand. Some of them have understood, but they didn't clarity. Some of them also have also seen other options, and they want to check if what you have for them is actually true or not. Let me put it that way. You get the picture I'm taking?
Yeah, I get you.
Because they will prepare ahead of time. The online classroom is really helping them. And it's also happened that on Sunday, I had a lecture with those students who are doing the third top up to the HND that they have done. I was so impressed with some of the questions they asked me, because that told me that whatever materials I'm giving them, they've gone searching for them. They've actually seen them, they've actually gone into it, and they are probing to get the understanding, but much better understanding. So if I were not to have been prepared, to have been well prepared, I would have been taken unawares. But thankfully I was prepared, so I was able to reach out to them, give them more options, and they all left the class happier.
Right. Okay, Mr. Boateng, we'll go for.
So you get that. So I will recommend both.
Okay, go on, please.
Okay.
No, you said you recommend what? Go on, please.
I recommend moving beyond COVID, the online show. My plea to all the business management, especially in this part of our world, projectors, microphones, good sound systems, the speakers, the woofers, get them provided. Even if you are restricted under the trees to teach, and this is and then we can reach out to as many steps as possible. Provision of furniture is another crucial thing that must be done. This, for in the short term, that's what I believe we should be doing. The e-library must be effective and running. Very, very important. The reliability of the internet service in the school. The problem is that even if the student doesn't have what it takes to buy internet credit, at least I have. If they are in the facilities of the university within the campus, they should be able to access these things. If the university is worried of students going to unapproved websites, they can simply put protocols in the system to control that. Because if you really want this online thing to be very effective, I'm pleading with all the powers that be. Let internet service be very strict, very effective on our campuses. This is the reason why these students are paying the fees. If you feel the money they are paying is not enough, go and debate it with the government and the parliament for it to be approved so that we can have better standards. Because what we have here is too slow. If you are not currently in my office, I am paying for internet service by cable. So that only depends on wireless, because the wireless is not dependent. I am paying for it today. I've asked the guys to come for the money, and it's going to cost me about $30 in my office in the university. I wish I've gotten it.
Yeah, I get you, Mr. Boateng.
Yeah, thank you.
We will go for a break, and when we come back, we'll continue.
All right.
Well, we are going on a break. We'll talk about, he has already talked about some challenges, but we will still talk more on it, and then I'll wait forward when we come back. You're welcome back from the break. If you just tune in, this is still AAU Talks, and we are talking about how COVID-19 has impacted the teaching pedagogy in Africa. Don't forget to follow this discussion on our social media platforms at Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube, and our dedicated website at tv.aau.org. Mr. Boateng.
Hello, Bella.
You're welcome
Yes,
back.
let's proceed.
Yeah.
You know, I just told you that.
Uh-huh.
You know, let me add this. I was telling you that I was going to put an infrastructure in my office for me to get cable. I want to tell you something that is happening in Ghana. Do you know that since 2010 or so, all the fees that we operate with are determined by the Parliament of Ghana? Are you aware? And we have not increased fees by more than 50% or so since
2000.
now. So look at I think 2011. So look at inflation rate. Look at the deterioration of our local currency, the cedi, and look at the fact that currently people are paying school fees for the full academic year, something around $400. $200. So I pity my management. Do you get the picture I'm painting?
Yeah.
This is where the problem is. This is part of the problem. And so the institutions that we have who do not have the numbers, we are likely to have numbers. But the larger your number, the more your problem. Those who do not have the numbers for students to come and pay fees, I'm wondering how they are surviving. These your questions can come.
Well, this is a challenge, and I hope this interview will get to the government to, so that it will help them to look at this kind of challenge and try to solve it. Now, let's talk about more challenges this online teaching and learning has brought to Africa. Still some institutions are facing problems getting online, and they are still waiting for this COVID to go, or we will try to combat this virus so that they'll come back to campus and then continue with the face-to-face. Now, what are some of the challenges you think this online teaching is bringing to our institution?
You see, I'll go back to tell you something about infrastructure. If you watch, I attended KNUST. I did my master's somewhere in 2007 to 2009. That time, fiber optics were being laid. KNUST. My own institution, TTU, were laying fiber optics. University of Ghana, all of them were doing that. How many universities in Ghana had laid fiber optics? Those who have not done that are going to have problems, serious problems.
Yeah.
And do you follow the picture I'm painting? Now, okay, so it starts. So those who didn't go by investing in infrastructure as related to virtual learning, online, ICT, those who didn't start their investment early, they will be caught by surprise. And that is one. And for those things, they will have much bigger problems than those of us who are already doing it. Like I said again, I don't know how it can be done. But if it can be done, I will plead that the whole lecture halls, even if the facilitator has to do online teaching, the lecturer can be in the comfort of his or her home or her office, with the projector and the screens available. Students can gather in various halls for the facility to be done. There's another time I said, TTU has an on-campus radio station which is active. Some of us do some of our facilitation, but it is also quite effective because the radio, you don't need a very sophisticated gadget to access it. So the institutions that have those things can do it. And I also know that we are working to activate YouTube, and we already have it on Google Classroom. And personally, instead of using the online one in the Google Classroom, which is giving me a problem, I'm thinking of going by YouTube to do my facilitation. So I can prepare before time and just roll it out. Did you follow me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I follow you.
Yeah, I can do the facilitation in my office or my house, then upload it for students to access. Then they can send me written questions on Google
Hello?
Go classroom and I can access an alternative to. But the problem is that you won't have live interaction. It cannot be interactive live, done online, done like on live program. But whatever it is, you'll be able to access them and assess them, and I believe it's feasible. Another problem I have found is that when I remember 3 weeks ago, I noticed that there was a student who was looking very uncomfortable, and I recommended the student to go to university hospital. The person went, and then they took care of the student. Now, if you're online, if you have peculiar problems and you don't see them, you don't meet them, you might never know.
Yeah.
And some of them do not even know that if you are paid your fees and you are part of the university community, accessing the hospital is free. And a hospital is not a clinic, it's a full hospital. We have resident health workers there full time. So meeting them meeting them in actuals, I think is very helpful. That's the reason why I told you that the combination of the virtual and the actual cannot be erased. We must strengthen it. Because personally, that's what I'm operating with. And it has been relatively helpful. In fact, it has improved the job better than I used to have before COVID-19.
That's great. That's great. Now, enough of the challenges, but I hope and believe that this switch to the online platform has also brought some opportunities. If I talk about opportunities, I mean some partnership opportunities between universities, whereby those who are trying to, get to the online, and they get a help from those who are already on the online platform, right?
Oh yeah, you are very right. And it has increased collaboration between institutions.
Yeah.
Now we are talking with everybody. The institutions which are endowed are reaching to us. Those who are not endowed are also reaching to us. And we are all looking at means for survival. We are looking at means for survival. So in fact, COVID has brought us, regardless of its problem, it has brought us a lot of opportunities too. I don't think we have actually optimized yet. I don't see it that way. There's so much to do. There's so much to do. Some of them are known as yet, but as we proceed, all of them will evolve. All of them will evolve. I believe strongly because you see, our management will be there. We will hear of some better practice happening. Let's say KMC, some better practice happening in Kumasi University. Then we adopt it. They also hear about ours, and then they adopt. Sometimes what they are doing tells us that what we are doing, we have not really deviated. So it's like an affirmation. Yes. So collaboration has been very, very helpful. And those of us who are also helping the community in various forms, like me going for Ghana Standard, it has boosted my work. Now Ghana has been linked directly to International Standards Organization. And I should think if it were not to have been COVID, this would not have been that shift. So COVID has brought us a lot of advantages, I must say, even though it has caused a lot of damage to homes which have been most affected, which is unfortunate though.
Well, do you think what we are experiencing now in terms of the change of our teaching pedagogy is going to change this for a very long time or in a long term?
Oh yeah, it has already changed. Has already been. The tertiary level is not going to be a big deal because we are much more sophisticated. But at the junior high schools, it's the senior high schools which feed us with students. So I want we have and the trees. We have schools where students cannot afford one full square meal. I mean, imagine the student is not endowed, and the student doesn't get an institution which is endowed with the capacity. I mean, imagine what will happen. Please, you follow me?
Yeah, I follow you.
Yes, because I don't know the policy on this, but going on, I think we have to reach out so much, so much. Other than that, there are some students who will left. sad, very bad. Because even where we are now, you could see clearly that there are some people who give them the entire 3 years to be up for HND. They might never be able to apply and buy a book.
Well, Mr. Boateng, are you still there?
Yeah, I was saying that if we don't, when reacting to your question, I was saying that see that we are fed by junior high school, senior high school students, the graduates. If those people are not exposed, they are not given the basis, the rudiment. When they get to the tertiary, they will have a lot of challenge. And I can only imagine, since my girl was, to the extent that we have schools that do not have classrooms, they sit on the tree. Students that schools that students put their chest on the bed floor, students sit on cement blocks. If we are talking of those, then you should be thinking of what are you going to talk about when it comes to computing? What then are you going to talk about? But there's something I also can talk about. If the government is listening to us, when they plan building classrooms for these schools, as part of the infrastructure, they should think of going solar and windmill. Okay. So that they wouldn't need to bring power from the national grid. That is one, which might not be reliable. And they may not need to buy prepaid. That's the other. Then, by that, you just go to the school with your laptop, which might be provided by the state. You just charge because there might be the wireless system there already. And then the net is online. Then learning can be enhanced. Do you follow me?
Yeah, that's it.
And this model can be, this model can also be applied to the university. Because I believe my university is a technical university, and our core mandate is from engineering. All our rules solar. It's a matter of writing a proposal, committing ourselves with. It's a little, if we push and do a little for ourselves, the powers may not be and our supporting partners might help us. Then for us to deploy the solar panel, this is going to help us so much. I also can't think to the extent that my university has been in operation since 1954, thereabouts or so. We've virtually been in the system for 70 years. I do not see why we cannot have biogas facility infrastructure here to actually generate some power for ourselves here. And I think this should go not only to my university, University is much a worse corporate than my university. They should have the technology. But we do civil engineering TTU, do civil engineering University, and we must do. We have electronic and electrical section here. University also have. But we don't have a skill. We should be able to do for the entire university. And if you ask me, these are some of the things we could be doing. I don't think we are schooling for nothing. I don't think we are here researching for nothing. You should see it critically. It should be done. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
If you're able to do this, the orientation will reach out to the students. So we really need to sit him or her in the class to teach the person. Seeing this, they will be straight away knowledge transfer. And then this will disseminate into the entire system and the community. And the whole Africa will be winners. I believe this is the way out. This is the way. Because if you make it everything so formalized, expecting it to come from the state, the government, it will be a challenge. But the government is being struck by hyper-headed problems everywhere. And if you do not have a political head in the ministry, which is very proactive, you will be tracked. And you will backtrack. I don't think it will go to step our purpose.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boateng, for granting us this interview. We really appreciate it. And we hope to see you after the COVID-19 so that we can have more discussion on sets.
All right, thank you so much. I'm grateful. My guests, the entire African family, I love you guys. We are doing well. With all our problems, we have not taken ourselves off the shelf. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Mr. Watson. This is the end of today's discussion. If you just tune in, don't worry. You can visit our social media platforms at Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube, and our dedicated website at tv.aau.org. We talked about how COVID-19 has impacted our teaching pedagogy. Please remember to follow the COVID-19 protocol so that you'll be safe. Bye.